Hello, good evening, and welcome to Soothing Pod's Sleep Stories. My name is Joe, and I'm going to tell you a wonderful story that will lull you into a peaceful and restful sleep. Tonight, I will tell you a story about an ant and a grasshopper. But before we continue, let's take a moment to get our bodies relaxed and comfortable. Get yourself into a comfy position in your bed. If it's cold, make sure to put a blanket over you. Now, are you snug and cozy? Then close your eyes. Take a long, slow, deep breath through your nose. As you breathe, allow the air to fill up your tummy and expand it like a giant balloon. Now, exhale slowly through your mouth. Good job. Let's do it again. Inhale through your nose. Exhale through your mouth. Inhale. Exhale. Your body now feels very relaxed, and you feel yourself sinking deeper and deeper into your soft bed. Now, it's time to listen to our bedtime story. Once upon a time, on a fine autumn day, an ant and a grasshopper were out and about. On this day, the tree leaves were beginning to turn from a luscious green to a beautiful shade of yellow and red. The sun went about its business up in the sky, and even if the sun shone brightly, it was not scorching hot. There was a cool, gentle breeze that made the air feel crisp. It was the perfect weather to be going around outside and doing the things that you love. If there was one creature that took full advantage of this marvelous weather to do all the things that he loved, it was the green grasshopper. He was a big, beautiful grasshopper who had smooth, almost velvety green wings that extended just a bit further than his robust body. The grasshopper took great pride in his appearance, and if you would like to know a secret, he actually took a great deal of time every morning to groom himself and to make sure that he was in tip-top shape. He was quite a happy-go-lucky grasshopper, and there was nothing more that he loved to do but play a happy tune on his fiddle, dance merrily, and eat delicious green grass to his heart's content. The autumn weather was perfect for these activities. The green grasshopper hopped merrily on top of the hill, took out his fiddle, and began to play a cheerful tune. He hummed and stamped his foot to the beat of the music. His head bobbed up and down to the rhythm of the songs. As soon as he was finished playing, he put his right hand on his stomach and took a long, low bow. "Thank you, thank you," he exclaimed, as he imagined that he was bowing to a big audience. "I take requests." His reverie was cut short when all of a sudden a small black ant walked by slowly, grunting as he struggled to carry a single grain of plump yellow corn kernel. "Excuse me, worker ant coming through," he called to the grasshopper. The grasshopper was amused by the sight of the small ant who tried to carry a kernel of corn 10 times his size as he moved aside to let the ant pass. He didn't know if he should laugh or feel sorry at such a sight. It was almost noon, and the sun was high up. It was getting a bit too hot, so the grasshopper decided to move to sit under the shade of a nearby bush. This was his favorite bush, because under this bush grew the most delicious green grass that he munched to his heart's content until he could no longer eat another bite. "This is the life," he said to himself as he lay down for a nap. Just as he closed his eyes, the tiny black ant came by again, this time with a grain of rice on his back. "Worker ant coming through," he called to nobody in particular. The grasshopper was so curious about why the ant worked so hard on such a beautiful day that he quickly walked out from the shade and jumped directly into the little ant's way. "Wait," he said, as he extended his right arm to stop the ant. The ant was taken aback, stopped, and said, "Why are you in my way, grasshopper? Can't you see that I'm busy carrying this grain of rice on my back?" Sweat poured out from his brow. "Ant, I don't understand why you are doing all this hard work when the weather is so beautiful. The sky is so clear and blue, and the sun is out. Why don't you put down that heavy grain and have fun with me?" "Grasshopper, believe me, I would love to go and play around like you, but it's autumn now, and it's time to store food for the winter. The freezing winter is just around the corner, and the food won't be as plentiful as it is now. I suggest that you do the same if you don't want to go hungry during the cold winter." The grasshopper stopped and thought long and hard about the ant's answer. Then he said, "I know that, ant, but winter is still so far away. There is lots of time to store food. Do as you want, but I will continue to store food because before you know it, winter has already come. If you are smart, you should do the same," the ant said, as he hurled the grain of rice back on his back. "Whatever, ant. I'm too busy having a great time right now. I'll have fun now and do the hard work later," the grasshopper said lazily as he went back to the shade. The grasshopper napped while the ant continued to work hard, transporting corn, grain, whatever else that he could find to his nest. This behavior continued for the rest of the autumn days. The grasshopper was too busy having fun and playing to even think of collecting food for the coming cold winter. Soon, the season changed from autumn to winter. The tree's leaves slowly fell to the ground until all that was left were bare branches. The days became shorter, and it slowly became colder and colder until the frost came and covered the ground. Finally, winter came, and the snow slowly fell from the sky and covered the entire land in a beautiful, cold, white blanket. The animals, like bears that sleep during the winter, were cozily tucked in their dens, ready to sleep the winter away. The ant, who spent the entire autumn collecting food, was entirely secure in his warm, cozy nest underground. His warehouse was bursting with food that he had collected during autumn. He felt secure in the fact that he had more than enough food stored to last him all winter long. The ant took a bite of an apple from his supply and munched happily. He stoked the fire in his fireplace. The grasshopper, who spent the entire autumn frolicking, found himself in the middle of the freezing snow. He was cold and hungry, but because it was so cold, no grass grew for him to eat. He regretted that he didn't take the ant's advice to store food when there was still time. Now it was too late. The grasshopper knew that the ant had worked hard to store food, so he covered himself with a thin leaf that he found floating in the wind and braved the deep, icy snow. He trudged towards the burrow where the ant lived. He knocked weakly on the door. The ant wondered who was out in the freezing blizzard and opened the door to see a cold, shivering, and extremely hungry grasshopper on his doorstep. "Please, Ant, I know that I don't deserve it, but be merciful towards me. I am so cold and so hungry. Please give me something to eat and let me warm myself in your cozy fireplace," the grasshopper said, his teeth chattering in the cold. The ant looked at the grasshopper's pitiful state and said, "I know that you don't deserve it, but I will help you this one time. But you must promise me that you will not be lazy next season and work hard to collect your own food for the winter." "I promise. You have my solemn word," the grasshopper said, feeling grateful and relieved that the kind ant had taken pity on him. So, the ant shared his food and his home with the grasshopper all winter long. The grasshopper, in turn, was a wonderful guest in the ant's burrow. He helped clean the house and entertained the ant with music and stories all winter long. There was never a dull moment during the winter with the grasshopper. True to his word, after the harsh winter passed and spring finally came, the grasshopper learned his lesson. He spent the summer singing and playing, and the entire autumn working hard with his new best friend, Ant. From that time on, the grasshopper learned the value of hard work, and so he was never hungry again. I hope that you enjoyed this story as you drift off to dreamland. Have a good night's rest, and I'll be with you for another lovely story tomorrow. Sweet dreams and good night.